Okay, welcome to our learning in Tanya. Baruch Hashem, once a week. We're going to have in mind this Yotzai for Moshe Rachman ben Yosef. He just said, Holy Son himself, Reb Chaim, and we'll have in mind all the learning we're doing in this session for his Ilya Nishmas, his first Yotzai. And Baruch Hashem, we should go in the ways of Holy Yidden and Simcha and Bez Hashem, we should be zocher to a good siyum of Chodesh Adar. We should name this Adar Marbin B'Simcha. Have to keep increasing in the Simcha. It's hard, it's getting harder. Tests are coming, and these special days right now, Chaf Gimel Adar of Sheva Yipol Sadik V'Kam, the 7 days, one day, Chaf Gimel Adar, all the way through to Rosh Chodesh Nisan, we've been talking about already, actually began today. So not tonight, today, in the learning in the office session. And so we're already fighting that challenge to have a Yerida to make into an Aliyah. And that's the avoda, to turn around the Yeridas into Aliyahs and to keep building every day, no matter what happens, any challenges or difficulties or downfalls, we can get back up. That's the whole meaning of being a tzaddik. The Ali Fencer says it good. You have to dafka become the tzaddik in the koach of constantly getting up, and that's the energy we put in to any difficulties we're going through, to turn it around, to channel that difficulty towards leverage it towards our benefit. So right now in chapter 31, that fits very well in terms of this week's learning. With our little Hagdama of the Zman, we're in the Erev Parshas Pekudei, Shabbat Chazak, Shabbat HaChodesh, the renewal of Chodesh Nisan, and where the Mishkan actually stays standing. Yom Shmini, we get to that 8th level. Till we get there, we need this chizuk right now of chapter 31. We will get to the chapter 32 soon, probably in a few weeks before Pesach, Chag Pesach, Lamed Yom Kodem HaChag. But till then, we're going to fight our way through this Timtum Alev, this blockage of the heart. And the way we break it in the previous Perek, we ended off that we crush the Sitra Achra of the animal soul and the arrogance of the Timtum Alev. And we have to transform that brokenness into joy. The problem, though, the undesirable side effect of breaking your spirit, Avata, and this whole thing of crushing yourself through shiftless, through being shofar be'emes, comes a side effect, God forbid, of depression, which is like the worst aviyos of tumor. According to the Chassidish Rebbes, we have to stay away from depression. Hine af eim kisharech harbe la'amik beinayim anau. Even if dwelling long and deeply on the above mentioned matters for an hour or two, kishar shtayim liot b'nemichas ruach leiv nishba yavo lidei atzfus gedola lo yachush. Even if dwelling long and deeply in above mentioned for an hour or two, to be lowly of spirit, contrite of heart, leads one to profound depression. Let him not be perturbed. Lo yachush is not to be perturbed. Asher asfas he misad klipa noga lo misad kedusha. True asfas depression derives from the realm of klipas noga, not of holiness. Kibasada kedusha kasiv oz chadva b'koima. The whole meaning of kedusha, of holiness, is oz v'chedva b'koima. Simcha and chedva. It's a very deep concept, but oz v'chedva b'koima is also the Mokum Amigdash, the Kodesh Kedoshim. But this is our shorish, our root. So we know that the Shechina only comes in Shorah based on the Gemara and Brachas. Before we were talking about Divrei Yomim, but now we're talking about Gemara and Brachas, also Gemara and Shabbos. The divine presence abides only in a place of men's joy. When we're learning Halacha, Daf Lamed Amid Beis and Shabbos. Rabbi started a shir with what? With Bat Chanas, with a joke. It's a little bit of Bat Chanas. A little joke, it opens up the heart. And that's the kind of way we need to learn. It's Simcha. Ela she'im atzvas hi memili dishmai hi bechinas tov shebenoga. Any depression that comes from the realm of klipa noba, except that if the depression due to spiritual matters arises from one's realization of his spiritual failings, it stems from the good contained in what? Within klipas noga. Klipa's noga contains both good and evil. The evil noga is the source of ordinary depression, and the positive noga gives rise to spiritually motivated depression. Even the element of good containing noga is after all Klipa. So saying lesson Tanya, page 406, anyone following along. It says in Arizal, treated dargis ta'anus eina roya ki im b'shas avidui. For this reason, Narrow writes, even one's roya over one's sins, dargis avonis, it's only appropriate during b'shas vidui. So the avonis, the sins, this is it should be set aside for specific times, meaning this whole voda of tshuva has to be done. Everything is man lechud. Everything has its man. So we bang our chest, Hashan Bagdano, it's only in a specific time. So too with Cheshbon and Nefesh, Spodidus, where we're talking to Hashem, working through our Nisyonis, should be done at specific zman. Shouldn't allow it to spill over into all the other times. It cannot be during the times of davening and learning. This must be done with joy. It's arriving exclusively from the realm of holiness, as opposed to frivolity and the like. So obviously you're not making a joke overly. A minute, we're just going to close this door to get a bit of Yeshivadas for a second. But we're not going to overly make a whole avoda. And we have to realize that Simcha needs to be done in the right way, with the right mindset. Simcha is connected to machshava, how we think about things, our mindset. Goes on to say in the Tanya, as our sage expressed, from the forest itself comes the handle of the axe which fell the forest, and a similar veins he encountered one of his own kind. So we know this is a famous song from Matziel. From the forest itself comes the handle for the axe, chop them down, chop them down. So we humble the other side through something of its own species. It's most effective tap by using the good contained within it as a weapon against itself. Of this sign of zone from touching one's spiritual state is written, the prophet lies in the joy which follows the sadness, as will be explained later. Yeah, that's the avoda, to find the joy after the sadness, and that's the nakuda that we have to awaken the simcha after doing the right kind of cheshbon and nefesh. And that's the true cheshbon and nefesh, is the hotzah, the profit that comes out of it is the simcha that comes afterwards. That means there always has to be the matara to lead towards simcha, no matter what kind of avodah, of tshuva, facing nisyonis. The goal has to be simcha, and this can be sometimes feel like impossible, because Yiddishkeit is challenging, and we have to really work on that inner voice of simcha and joy. Ach be'emes ein leiv nishba marias lenefesh she'arachach ma'or pnei Hashem islabshusha b'sitra acha shem atzvus klal lashon HaKodesh. In truth, however, the state of being contrite of heart and bitter soul, remorseful over one's motives from Hashem, over the fact that one's soul is clothed in the sitra acha, this state can by no means be described in the holy tongue by the term atzvus. Yeah, we have to really, like as we said, it's aviavos of tuma. It's the worst kind of matzav ruach, to be in a state of atzvus. We have to fight with all our forces, all our abilities, all the different eights. I was just listening to a podcast from Lipa Schmaltz, meaningful, and you see over there that he has gone through tremendous milchamas with the inner voices and the past stories, and to get to a state of well-being and simcha, true simcha, it takes a lot of inner work, a lot of avoda. Atzvus means that one's heart is as dull as a stone and there's no vitality. So this is one of the things that Shlomo was getting at, that we need to have a bit more hisagshus, a bit more hispalis, a bit more awakening. We were talking about the tzaddikim, like we had the Nomani Melech Yotzai last week. the Neimas, the Zusha, the Ziskai, and then we're having Chedushia Rim, constant, the Vekas to Emes, to Torah. Aber Meriris Leiv Nishba, Ad Rabbi Hari Yesh Chayas Beliba Lispal Lis Marma. But bitterness and Meriris and contrition are just the opposite. The fact that the one is moved to being embittered is itself a sign of life. So obviously there's a different kind of sadness. There's atzvus versus meriris. Meriris, bitterness, has a kedusha to it. You know, like for example would be, a very obvious example was Miriam. Her name is Miriam, which is bitter. But yet she was the one that sang and created a whole matzah of Simcha for the Noshim at Kriyas Yamsuf with the tambourines and the Az Yoshir. We know that the Simcha, the bitterness, leads to Simcha, and that is because it's far from atzvus. It's a different kind of avoda. Because the method of humbling the Sichacha is not atzvus at all, but meiris. This is something which needs to be worked through. This true bitterness, like one of the simanim of the Seder's play is Mara, and we know that Mara is bitter, and we know that Charish is sweet, and that concept of bringing the two together. And in the end, the bitterness still has to be the ikka of the avodah of Seder night, because there's a big hamtaka through, a big sweetening through the bitterness of the Seder night, through the Mara, through the horseradish, through the chayin, as I say, the chayin, through the different avodah of the bitterness that we eat on the Seder night, and the tikkun of all the Seder, of all the chagim, of all the Yom Tovim for the whole year comes through Seder night. The whole order, as we'll talk about, please God, this we're learning with Biederman, with Shlomo, and I mentioned in the shir last year when I got to speak in the shul, the idea that the whole year is set up with Tisha B'Av being connected to Seder night. We want to try and mumtik on the Seder night the bitterness of Tisha B'Av, because in the end, even Tisha B'Av is a sad day, but the Tzaddikim are very careful not to allow themselves to enter into atzvus, because that is not shaykh. That's not something. Even the Matim B'Simcha of Av is not shaykh to come to atzvus. We have to always maintain some level of simcha of even on such a day. The fact that the Shekhinah comes all the way down to the lowest places, that in itself is worthy of the Simcha. The fact that the Chuvim were embraced on the lowest day of the year is in itself worthy of Simcha. And the fact that all the panemius of Simchas Torah and all the highest moments comes through the moments of bitterness, but not from atzvus. Atzvus, sad, depression is something, once again, we have to make that separation. Rashi Achayas Bechinas Gevuras Kedoshis. So this vitality derives from the holy attributes of severity, the Gevuras, in the holiness, expressed as bitterness. The Simcha Bechinas Chasodim, and joy derives from the attributes of kindness. Ki Alev Kolo Mishtayan. So this is a very deep concept, but basically a person's walking around with kilo like two hearts. He's got the right side is Simcha and joy and kindness, and the left side is Gevuras, but in the state of bitterness and meriris. And this contradiction, seemingly, is this paradox is how a yid lives. As Reb Bowman once said, a happy song makes a Yiddish heart a bit more bitter, and a bitter song, a sad song, makes a Yiddish heart rejoice, because we're constantly with those contradictions, those paradoxes. V'hina le'itim sach la'oyer b'chinas kavuras kedoshas k'dei lahamte kadinim shem b'chinas nefesh b'hamis v'yetzhar k'shor l'chas shalom al adam. At times one must arouse the holy attribute of severity in order to temper, sweeten the stern judgments, which in this connote the animal soul and the evil inclination, whenever it dominates a man, God forbid. Ki ein hadinim nimtakin ela b'shorashim. For stern judgments can only be sweetened by means of what? Their source, their shorish. For this reason, our sages said one should always incite the good inclination to anger against the evil inclination. So that's using the severity of sweetening the evil inclination. Famous Gemara and Brachas and Daf Hey. Yeah, so we have to leverage everything towards serving Hashem with Simcha. So the Shivrei Lev, the broken heart, has to be towards Simcha, towards Avodas Hashem. towards the Vekas, it always has to have a positive goal. Page 410, he says the word always, one should always incite joy, not severity, is usually the proper setting for divine service. Thus, when sages state that one should always incite the good inclination, this means whenever he finds it necessary for himself, that the light of his divine soul to penetrate his heart, according to him to Malev. The proper time for his anger, divine animal soul, is with opportune fitting promotion. Shashu Arta Balav Ki Mali Da'ama. Kach Blisham or Kach Blisham Siva. In any case, Monday apples or just without any desire, because as I Hisha Kosha the Hefel Atzav Dios Mare the Chushbana. This is the opportunity of redirecting depression into a manner of account. Cheshbana Nefesh. The Kaimam Rizal, all Miragis V'chilu Canal, so with the sages, the teachers should incite his goodness against evil inclination and harness the attribute of severity, so he's leveraging it towards Simcha. And then he'll be rid of depression brought on about mundane matters. So at first you start looking at the business situation. I'm going through this right now, mamish. And it starts to feel like, everyone's trying to chaparai and everyone's making the best situation for themselves. The truth is, in the mitzvahs, everyone's struggling and everyone's doing the best they can. Hashem's testing everybody in their own way. And we let go of it all and just say, look, Hashem's the one who provides, Mafanas Akol, and the Panas will come one way or another. And we have to keep working it together with Abbasra. And one of the Nakudas is, for me, works the most even more. And we'll just stop here. It's on page 411. Let's carry on from 6 of Adon, Chitas. To be able to come to Simcha Mitis. That's what we're going to hopefully go into when we learn this next week, Chodesh Nisan. The idea, Be'ez Hashem B'aleinu L'Tova, that we've gone through these 7 days, getting back up. But one of the most powerful ways to constantly be in an up, and this is something a Rav said to me in Yeshiva, is when you think of yourself as such an important part, as the Rebbe Lubavitch Rebbe says in this book, in Jewish Unity and Love, of page 338-339, engaging the essence, the Torah philosophy of the Lubavitch Rebbe from Dr. Bornstein, which had a beautiful shir today from this Rav, and it not connected to the shir, but the Nakuda of being busy with Am Yisrael, wasn't actually loving other people, it draws them closer to it. Should not Avishah bring every Jew to try and benefit his fellow Jew, not just spiritually, but in all matters, physical and spiritual? Then when you dedicate your time for other Yidden, because in the end, we're Kumu Shlema, we're all together, and we all need each other. He says, in their root, the souls are above the level of Torah, but here below, the essence that he is a Jew can arrange for an observance of Torah mitzvahs. So they must lead to fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs. There is no truth period in order to bring a Jew close when he needs to become angry with him. It's obvious, heaven forbid, that birds should say words, blessing. Let us not be a man. So you have to always do things with a good eye. And we have to be Moshe Nefesh. We have to put time and energy into helping other Yidden. So when you're busy with helping other Yidden, and to come and bring everyone close together, that we all work together underneath the mountain and stay at Bittul and great joy. That was the truth of Kabbalah Satorah, and that's the truth of the Beis Hamikdash B'Korov Mamish. We have to put our energy into helping other people through that Bittul and elucidating the Yechida, as we learned the other day, and the Avos Yisrael in the spiritual realm. That gives us ability to be active in helping other Yidden, and that brings us to Simcha, because then we get out of ourselves and we get into a state of we, or instead of me, and we get to a state of selflessness, and that selflessness brings us into a state of joy. So if we really want to get to true Simcha, it means to invest ourselves in Am Yisrael. So he says, in order to draw the Ishtalshus from the singular one of the world, Yechida Sh'olam, one servant needs to be from the Yechida of the soul, a self-effacement. His balance that transcends logic. He needs to face himself, to leave the counter, take a cow, and animal, become involved with it, with a full knowledge they become impure, just in order to pure. That's the whole Parshas Parah. We saw Parshas Parah, just to purify another Jew is already his batless. It's a very deep explanation of purifying the Tameh. We have to work on that. Therefore, they have to be involved in helping Jews supply their needs, including simple material needs. Not only with condition they should study Torah, but we are speaking about Jewish men and women and children whose existence preceded the entire world, including the existence of Torah. That's the kind of investment we're having. To be one nation in the land. Just to reveal this unity of Hashem through doing it together. And they need to be revealed even in monetary matters. This is how far we need to go all the way through. And this will take us out of any atzvus, any sadness, for being involved in a higher purpose, higher cause. We should work on this. We should really work on this and take the Tanya and take the Me'iris and come to Simcha Mitzvahs. And please God, we'll see each other in the new Chodesh. And there'll be a lot of renewal and Shefa and blessing, and Pashas Chodesh will become a light for us to all renew ourselves so we can come one nation in the land. Korban Pesach this year, B'Korim Mamish. Amen. Amen. Thank you for listening. Please share on and connect. Once again, we dedicate this to all the soldiers. They should have Shmira and Leona. My son's starting Miluim tomorrow. Should be Matzliach, Baruch Hashem Ben Masha. My success in everything.